Hey everybody, Brian Boyle here, and welcome to episode 132 of the Mission. It's Friday, and hopefully you had a fantastic week. I've had a great week. It's been a good week. It's been a long week. The folks that were sick in the beginning of the week are now better. Just a beautiful week, weather-wise. It's been good. It's been good. Had my dad and my stepmom here for the last couple of weeks, and they're leaving tomorrow to head to Maui, and then we're gonna meet them in Oahu. So coming up in a week, in 1 week, I'll be live from Oahu, and be doing some again a little on the road show. But hey, enough about me. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, send those to me, Brian at company5k.com. That's the number 5k.com. I'll be happy to get back to you. And hey, no question is either too big or too small. We'll get to you the advice that you need. And remember, it's advice. Okay, there's more than one way to do something. So I may not know everything. I know a lot of things what not to do. I may not know everything, but I'll get you some answers. Today I want to talk to you about iron supplementation. Anybody taking an iron supplement? Well, here might be the reason why you would consider taking a supplement with iron in it. Now, iron is part of hemoglobin, and hemoglobin helps, that gives our blood the red pigment, but also helps carry oxygen in the bloodstream. It's usually stored in the bone marrow and the liver, and it is a really fickle essential element. Too much of it can be toxic and cause massive amounts of infections, and we see this in babies where they've actually induced iron into formula, and babies are getting sick and dying, and it's called infantile botulism. And so some bad stuff. If in excess of what your body needs, you can actually become very sick. You can become constipated, can cause discoloration in the stools, all sorts of just bad stuff. And yet it's a really, really, really important element in the body. So, how do we lose iron? So, if somebody says that they're iron deficient, okay, sweating is one of the big ways that we lose iron. Okay, so the sedentary person probably just blows through about 0.5 milligrams of iron a day. If you figure that the average person that just kind of very sedentary, a male who's running and doing stuff, is probably going to burn through about 3.5 milligrams of iron a day. It's going to come through sweat. It's going to come through hemolysis and bleeding. So they call it foot strike hemolysis if you're really pounding heavy on the feet. And so the male, most men are going to burn through about 3.5 milligrams a day. Women roughly about 4, just because of menstrual bleeding, bodily functions, sweating, so on and so on. In order to consume enough through the diet, you'd have to consume massive amounts of solid iron food, or food containing iron, and it's probably way too much to consume. You wouldn't tolerate it. Some of it's also biounavailable, so it just doesn't break down in the body. So the reality of it is that most runners should be at least supplementing with some sort of iron supplement, probably on the tune of about 20 to 25 milligrams a day. Now, why is it important to go really on kind of the lower conservative end? Well, for the reason that I've already talked to you about. Okay, go too high. There's been some people that have talked, and so mixed reviews. Some people say give 30 to 60. Others have said maybe 100 to 200. Well, the downside again is that you get this just gastric distress, constipation, a little bit of nausea, just who wants to go through that? If you already got the pre-race jitters, you're already probably dealing with that. So the reality of it is that probably lower end, you're going to get enough through the food. If you figure that you're on a 3,000 calorie diet, you're probably going to get anywhere between maybe 15 to 18 milligrams. Get another supplement of 20 to 25 milligrams, and you're probably up into that 30 to 40 milligrams per day range, which should be more than enough to allow your body to heal. Okay, because that's one of the big things, through this, whether it's compression hemolysis, where you actually crush the red blood cells, or foot strike, where you're actually, kind of striking down. Again, one of the big deals that can occur in long distance runners. All right, and one of the reasons that you're going to probably want to supplement with an iron supplement. How can you also help reduce iron, in this hemolysis, or the breakdown, running in the cooler parts of the day, because again, we talked about sweating. Sweating can do massive amounts of damage for iron and iron deficiencies. We see this typically in folks that are running in spring, and and then they train through the summer, and then they get into the cooler weather again, and they're getting into fall races and such. Did pretty well, except now that they've got into the really hot part of the month, like July, August, okay, and then you get into September and October. Well, what's happened is, if you haven't replaced those iron deficiencies in July and August, now you're really in a deficit by the time you hit September, October, and usually into nationals if you're running cross country, or maybe a fall marathon. All right, so if you're consistently, depleted, where you're just not functioning, you're tired all the time. Now all of a sudden, like what would be considered maybe burnout. And I've been there. I've been there plenty of times and didn't realize this until too late, that maybe, just maybe, supplementing your diet with a smaller dose of iron may be just enough to reduce that fatigue and burnout and this chronic, just kind of just stale feeling. Changing what you're running on, so a lower impact surface, that can be another thing. Making sure that you are taking the supplementation, that like I said, running in cooler temperatures, and so the cooler parts of the day can certainly help. Also avoiding any sort of increase in activity during your heavier times of training. So reducing your amount, if you're strength training, reducing that if you're going into your higher intensity. So instead of maybe working out 3 times a week to strengthen, if you increase your intensity towards the end of the season, maybe you reduce that to 1 time a week. Okay, because again, that compression hemolysis, where you're breaking down through weightlifting and exercise, can also impact that. So again, just some things to think about, but I would seriously urge you to consider, and then also maybe check out with your physician, getting some blood work, to make sure that that you're not over supplementing with the iron. Again, 20 to 25 milligrams should be more than enough. Too low and you're not really doing much, and obviously too high, we've already talked about. So that's it. Hey, it's been good. It's been a good week. I will see you again tomorrow. Check out runpainless.com. I'm Brian with The Mesh Tongue. Whatever you do, folks, don't go hurting yourself to come back. But please share this with your friends, your family, your training partners. And until next time, we'll see you again. All right.